Remember the outfit contest we had in September? Well, the winner's reward is finally done. Today, I'm going to show you how I turned Straw Beanie's well-earned reward into a fully rigged and extra squishy VTuber model in Live2D. This will be more of a draw with me type of video, and I'm only speaking from my own experience. If you have any additional tips, feel free to converse in the comments down below. In this video, I'll walk you through my entire rigging process, from adding the file to Live2D to the oh-so-satisfying physics, so you can see exactly how a 2D drawing comes to life. If you want to see how I prepped the drawing itself for rigging, check out the video at the top right to see my process. Adding the model to Live2D is quite simple. First, you'll need to export your drawing as a PSD Photoshop document, then simply drag and drop from File Explorer. After that, I go through the layers and redo my clipping masks because they always get reset, work on parameters, and add deformers to organize each folder. While I'm working on that, I'll give you a quick rundown on what the heck things mean on this screen. So over here is where your layers are, like what you drew. It's called the parts list. Each layer and folder is called a part and has its own part ID, which you can see up here. On the other side, you'll see your deformers. Deformers help keep your layers organized and can warp multiple layers at once. Parameters are next. I actually set one up pretty quick to hide the toggle for now. Parameters are what tells the computer to move this at that time. It's like a preset to be switched on or off by, let's say, your facial tracking, for example. The first part of VTuber rigging, in my opinion, is always the eyebrows. 1, because it's easy, 2, because it's fast, and 3, it's nice to see something finished on your model and helps motivate you to finish them. Anyway, I used Chibi Productions as a tutorial template, I guess you could call it. I highly recommend their videos. I'll link their channel in my description. Unfortunately, I do still need tutorials for my VTubers here and there just to make sure I'm on the right track or if I get stuck, and there is no shame in it at all. I just feel bad personally because I have imposter syndrome and don't like the idea of influence, which is ironic because I'm here for you to see. So yeah, I feel bad about watching tutorials sometimes because I want everything to be original, but that's not possible and I'm slowly working on it. But yeah, it's so much easier to rig skinny eyebrows though. Just to let you know, if you do decide to draw your model, you're cool with skinny eyebrows, they're way easier to rig, that's for sure. But I love my caterpillar brows, so I don't mind the hassle. I added a parameter for the Y movement and the physics parameter Chibi Production talks about in their tutorial. Again, linked in the description, highly recommend their series. It's called Brow Inner Up, and it's super useful when you want to look concerned. I don't know if I can show you in this model. Or sad, or even frustrated. And that's literally it. It took me 45 minutes just about to finish the brows, and that is with break. So yeah, great place to start. Next is, of course, the eyes. They, of course, do the looking, as we know, yes. This and the mouth is the only part where I don't use deformers to move the initial shape, because the line tool that I don't remember the name of, but I'm showing on the screen now, is so useful for morphing the upper and lower lid closed, and that only works with the initial mesh. Just be very careful not to edit the original placement of the layer and limit that layer to only 3 parameters, or else it's going to look really weird. It's best to stick with deformers otherwise. Oh, and before I forget, I actually ran into an issue that might be something to notify because I didn't learn until it was too late and it was kind of a hassle to fix. Live2D 5.3 version, which is the newest version that's out, is not supported by VTube Studio right now. As of today, it is not supported by VTube Studio. Only use Live2D update 5.2 and below. When I finished the eyes, I was so confused when I moved it to VTube Studio to test why it wouldn't import. It's because VTube Studio doesn't support the new blending layer types added in 5.3. The more you know. My favorite part of the eye rigging is the physics, which I'm not sure if I do in this part of the video. I'm pretty sure I do if my memory serves me correctly, or I do it at the end with all the other physics, but if it is in this part, you'll see it. It is so extremely satisfying and very funny, stretching the irises and highlights and the pupils and everything to its extreme, only to use a portion of that power in the physics menu. But it's really fun, you know, stretching and morphing your model in silly, stupid ways. And you can get really into eyes. Like, I'm barely scratching the surface with Straw Beanie's model and even my model. Some people have like full-on animations going through their eyes. It's crazy. Anyway, I'm rambling. Luckily, Straw Beanie has V-Bridger, so I was able to go full force with the eyes. I added a squint parameter on top of the smile parameter and utilized limited blend shapes, so when her eyes are closed, the smile activates, and when they're open, the squint activates. It's a great way to improve the smiling and make it more realistic. Next up is the mouth, and I was so excited to do it. The mouth is what makes or breaks a VTuber model, and believe it or not, I do have a few regrets on this one. Like with the eye, most of the parts are morphed without deformers. Peepoo's strategy is probably one of the most accurate I've ever seen when it comes to mouth movement to real life tracking, so I'm going to stick super close to that, just like how I did with my own model. Because V-Bridger utilizes the mouth the most, it required quite a few new parameters. Parameters like mouth shrug, jaw open, mouth pucker, and mouth pressed lip open, and more. That's actually part of the issue too. I didn't realize that the mouth would look so realistic, even though I aimed for realistic movement like a silly goose. I think she would have looked so much better with a more simple anime-esque mouth because Chibi. Think of Chibi Doki, for example. I mean, speaking of the name, love her content, by the way. Chibi Doki has a very simple mouth structure, but it does look like she may use V-Bridger. It still looks fluid, but not as realistic, and I think I should have gone that route. Because cute is small and simple, not small and complicated. I really hope that doesn't trigger an uncanny valley effect, but if it does, definitely let me know in the comments. I will make sure if Straw Beanie is okay with it, and I will fix the mouth and I'll make a post about it and stuff. Because honestly, I'm so on the fence on completely redoing it or not. I've said before that each model gets faster over time, and let me tell you, this one was the fastest. It was actually kind of scary how fast I finished this model once I stopped feeling the burnout. Like for example, I always had issues with the back teeth when opening and closing the mouth, but this time, flawless execution. Chef's kiss level satisfaction. I felt like a wizard, like for real. Anyway, here is her cute little mouth. I do love how accurate it is to a real mouth, and she is pretty darn cute with the mouth she has now, so just, I don't know, I'm still on the fence about it. After the mouth is the XYZ movements of the head, which always takes the longest. It's because the face can look real wonky even if you make the slightest error. It's just the way the human condition is. We can always tell if something's a little bit off. So you have to make sure that it is very 3D, very accurate, and nothing is warping and weirdly doing stuff. This used to be extremely difficult to do too until the Apply 3D Rotation Expression tool came out in 2024. This is a very smart tool that applies 3D movement to the 2D object in a way that's like computerized instead of manual. This keeps anatomy errors from occurring nearly as easily and makes things a ton faster so long as it behaves the way you want it to. Luckily, Peepoo's gluing method for the face helped a ton, and I was able to get it done super quick, especially after I've done it a few times, because the first time that was hard to figure out. So if you're doing the 3D rotation expression tool for the first time, please give yourself some grace because it is extremely difficult to get the hang of, but you will get the hang of it. I just remember I spent like 4 hours just on turning my head left and right because I messed up the gluing and I couldn't figure out how I could fix it. Anyway, I'm rambling. The other part that took a while is that the face had a ton of layers, and they usually do have a ton of layers. They have way more layers than the body usually does, just because of how much detail goes into it. But I needed to do this 3D rotation expression tool and fine tuning for literally every single layer one at a time. It is extremely painstaking. It's my least favorite part of the process, but I'm always so satisfied at the end. It's not worth the shortcuts. I love just putting in so much effort into it because it always looks good in the end, you know? After this part of the video, I really don't have a script because I thought, you know, I could freestyle a little bit without sounding as stupid as I'm worried I'm gonna sound like. Because if you're at this part of the video, I'm sure you're gonna stick around. And if you do, I do want to talk a little bit about the YouTube channel. So when I first started my channel, way back in January of 2024, I was doing color picker challenges in short form content, and they were doing really well on TikTok. And one of my friends who has a little bit of experience in social media, she was like, girl, you need to post this on YouTube. It's easier to get monetized, blah, 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 blah. You can download your TikTok videos without a watermark and you can repost them, blah, 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 you know. social media stuff. And I was like, oh man, I don't know. It's just so much to keep track of. And she's like, you literally just have to repost the same video. Girl, please be for real. And when I finally did it, it just exploded. And that's why you see the videos the way they are now. All of my subscribers came from color picker challenges. From the very beginning, within 6 weeks, I was at 100,000 subscribers and I didn't know what to do with any of them. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was really, really shy at the time and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't want to like make the world a worse place because of my color picker challenges, the audacity of my brain and thought process of that. So my point is, I am bringing them back. Finally, so the plan is I'm gonna do color picker challenges for short form content. And if you're interested in that, obviously go ahead and give a subscribe. I went ahead and showed you guys a few examples, I think. I really like doing them too. Like they're repetitive, yeah, like, you know, all that stuff, but I could make them a little bit more spicy, if you will, like give it a little more pizzazz. And I use those as a way to like, you know, keep the YouTube channel alive. I don't need to take huge breaks for giant projects, like for example, the whole Chibi model and new outfit update thing that took forever. And I could utilize them to learn more about anatomy and composition and basic drawing fundamentals that I of course need to improve on. We never stop improving on things. So if you look at my channel now and you see my old shorts are no longer appearing, the ones that aren't color picker challenges, that's a strategy that I'm going for to try and so that way I can fit into that niche, get it all back up and running again. It's just something that I've been strategizing about. But the long form videos will be pretty much the same, once every 2 weeks posting one of those. I'll be focusing more for long form on like business strategies for artists and VTuber stuff. I'm going to sprinkle in some challenges here and there because obviously you guys like the redrawing old art and redrawing OCs and doing stuff and like stuff like that. That's fun, you know, but I'm going to be focusing on like how to make money as an artist, how to become independent, how to make your own business, how to prep for taxes as someone who doesn't know how to do taxes, because if you don't know, you're not an employee, you're a contractor when it comes to these types of things. So you pay your own taxes and it's terrifying for me. For me, it's terrifying. I don't like that. That's why I have a whole different bank account for it. Anyway, I could go on about it, and that's partially why I want to just dive into it more. There's a lot of drawing for fun content out there, but there's not a lot of, okay, do you want to make this a career? You can still make this a career. Also, even with AI being rampant, you can still make a career as an artist. I feel like I have rambled quite enough. Like literally the first half of this video was scripted. One thing I do want to point out with the Z movements for the head, now that is a stark contrast between the XY and yeah, all it needed was one deformer. I say this in every video, but the satisfaction never ceases to amaze me. I add one rotation deformer, tilt it left, tilt it right, and then it's done, literally. If you know how to use deformers, you can manipulate the entire thing to be extremely easy. And with this model, it was extremely easy for a process compared because of how much more understanding I have on the rigging process. This stuff is so insanely complicated, and I love it so much because it's complicated. Rigging, by the way, I don't know, it's just like a little adrenaline rush, kind of like, am I allowed to say that in this video? Kind of like a like learning is kind of like a drug to me, so like I'll get this huge dopamine rush whenever I learn something new. It's just the greatest thing in the world and I love it, and I'm just so glad I can learn something new every time I make a model, so it stimulates literally every single part of my brain. After the XYZ movements of the head, I always go to the body next, and that's XYZ movements of the body. Now the body movements are actually way more simple when it comes to complexity, because we're not really using the 3D rotation expression tool. We just got to remember to, you know, tweak certain things here and there. Now with the body, I don't really need a tutorial at all. Sometimes if I'm doing something new, like let's say a tail, or like whenever you smile, something loops, I want to try that sometime. I'll use a tutorial then, but when it comes to basic XY movements, it's so simple for the body and it doesn't take nearly as long. I usually forget the toggles until last though. And I think you'll see me like go back, maybe even whenever I'm doing physics, and adding the little voodoo doll toggle, and it's so cute. I love that little voodoo doll toggle. It's so freaking adorable. Oh my goodness. It is super duper straightforward. The only thing that's annoying about the XYZ movements of the body is all the layers. You know, you just gotta do one layer at a time, slowly but surely, left and right, up and down, synthesize corners. You get it. Repeat. Now, one thing that I've noticed that's really easy is starting with a big deformer that covers a wide range of layers. Like, let's say, like your entire dress as one whole, and then you like turn it a little bit here and there. Make very simple adjustments as you go into smaller groups or even as one particular layer, you can get really into the detail. Thanks to the hierarchy system in Live2D, that makes it super duper easy, and I was utilizing that a lot in Strawbeanie's model, and to be fair, it made it so much faster. So much faster. It was actually crazy. Steppies are included with the body physics, actually, which is kind of surprising. Whenever I first learned how to do steppies, I tried like it's on the X parameter, but it would like freeze in midair, so I really didn't like that. What is her name? Wufei. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry. She has a tutorial as well, like a more beginner friendly tutorial, but she showed me the steppy trick. Now that we're done with the body XYZ movements though, it's time for physics. And physics is the most scrumptious, edible, squishy, and gelatiny part of the entire process, and it's the most satisfying. It's my favorite part. My favorite part is adding the physics and the animations and the toggles, because all the hard stuff is done. Like you made it 3D. Now you gotta make the 3D fancy. It is my favorite part of the process, and it's super duper easy. Now there's one thing that is kind of combined with the XYZ movements of the head that I don't think I went over yet. Because she is chibi, I wanted to give her more of a bobblehead effect. I do this with every single one of my models, but I add a Z parameter for physics, and I go to the physics menu and I just give it a little bit of a jiggle. So whenever I turn left and right, you can see my head's kind of bobbing with it. I really like that because it makes the model feel so much more fluid, and I did that even more so with her model because Strawbeanie's model is a chibi, so it's a bobblehead. It's a giant head on a tiny little body. Of course it's gonna bobble around, but I did want to note it, just tell you that I added that in case you're like, for some reason, following this tutorial. You should be following Pipu and Wufei and all those other tutorials that actually help people. I'm just here to be company while you draw. If your head doesn't look the way that mine does, go ahead and put in like a Z bobble for your head. You know, it'll make it feel more fluid. Also, a shoulder bobble would be good too, so that your shoulders kind of bounce around whenever you're turning, so it feels a little bit more like an ease in, ease out situation if you know about editing. I could go on for ages about physics, but basically it's just, going through one thing at a time, thinking about if it jiggles, then we should probably put physics on it. Ooh, the skirt. And I'm so glad that I did my skirt first before Strawbeanie's. So now I kind of know how to do the skirt thing. I think I do that more towards the end of the video. The really long sleeves, I wanted to make sure those swayed and bobbed and stuff. And I also wanted to add a little bit of a head bobble to the little voodoo doll toggle because, it's just a little floppy stuffed voodoo doll. I wanted to make sure it felt a little bit more like a rag doll where it's just drooping around and being cute. It's so cute. Ugh. There was something that I didn't do, and that's add the breathe effect. Honestly, that was just me forgetting to do it. Honestly, I just forgot to do it, and I feel really bad. And Strawbeanie, if you're watching this and you want me to add the breathe effect, definitely let me know. I can add that really, really quick and then resend you the files. Literally not a problem. And then you can replace it in your VTube Studio folder. Also, love you. Your design skills are amazing and top tier. Mwah. Thank you so much for being an amazing person and working with me throughout this entire process. You have been an absolute blessing to my poor little heart, and I'm really wishing for all the success in the world for you, girl. Like, honestly, you deserve it. And that is that. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and Strawbeanie, if you're watching this, again, I love you. Thank you so much for being such an amazing person throughout this whole process. Feel free to enjoy the rest of the showcase without me blabbering away. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and click the subscribe button, become part of our subscribable army. And if you liked the video, the like button's right there, it's free. Anyway, look forward to another video in about 2 weeks and continuous color picker challenges 3 times a week. Thank you so much, I love you, and see you in the next one. Mwah! Bye bye.